record. Okay, it's being recorded.
Okay, great, thank you. No, that's for Susan's sake.
No, that's to be accountable, Raphael.
Yeah, yeah, that as well, yes.
I mean, I find it fascinating that having gone through exactly that here in Brisbane, the thing that happened after the drought was a flood, a terrible flood that in the end killed a lot of people. And it's almost like this catastrophe, Fred, that you're talking about, catastrophic, to get the change. But the real question, I think, keeps getting asked by Fred, and again, I apologize, Fred, for making your thing, is it too late?
Does it matter?
Well, not to me, really, but you know, the fact is that it'll probably last as long as I will. So does it matter to me? No. Does it matter to somebody that matters to me? Probably.
Well, of course, it all depends on what perspective and what time frame you have. But it's the same reasoning that corporation has. If they can show it on the bottom line by Friday, does it matter? Obviously, it doesn't. So let's say it matters. Let's say just for the sake of it, let's say it matters, and that we have a clear view of what we want for the future, which is highly questionable. I don't think we do, but let's say we do. Is it too late to get to that future? Let's say a future that would get us an environment back to what it was before the exponential growth of humans. That is before we started to have abundance of energy. That is before we had the need for oil, coal, and the Industrial Revolution. That is a pristine environment as it was at that moment, with regenerative systems in excess of what is needed. More forests, more water, more food, more potential, more capability and capacity than available than what we have today. We'll never get there. We will. So if that is the future that we want, it's not possible. What can be is an environment where what we use in terms of regenerative capacity of planet Earth is matched by the actual regenerative capacity of it. That's what sustainability would be. That is, you do not exceed the regenerative capabilities of your system. Can we get there? Yes, I think we can. Can we restore what's been destroyed? Maybe we can if we do not if we immediately stop exceeding resources and use of resources and regenerative capabilities. We probably can. But the main problem is not this. The main problem is, what do we want? Does it matter? Because if we don't want it and if it doesn't matter, then it's not going to happen. If we can clearly state it, have an agreement on what we want, then maybe it can happen. We still have to solve a lot of problems. That who's going to pay for it? Who's going to start? Who's going to put himself at risk to get there? Who's going to make the hard decision? It's a lot easier not to add on to the population than to get rid of part of the population because it's not possible to deal with it, or to add to the lag time that we can that we have to go back to a sustainable future. That is, if we keep on adding on the population and we have already overshot the regenerative capacities, then it will take longer. We add up to the lag. So It maybe it's not too late to do that, but I don't see many people making the right decisions. I see many people doing things toward the right direction, but the hard decisions are not made. We keep adding on the population. We keep adding strain on the system. It's a rush forward to avoid facing what's going on. That's what I see.
Yeah,
I see,
keep going.
I see genetic improvement, genetic engineering. So we, on one hand, we drive species to extinctions. On the other hand, maybe we are developing the capability to restore a species that has been extinct. That's Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park story. Do we want to do that? I don't know. Isn't that simpler not to destroy the species in the first place than to rush forward to develop genetic engineering to restore it? I don't know. But as we destroy it, at the same time, we are developing genetic engineering that maybe someday will give us the possibility to restore it. So I don't know. I see that we are developing factories that run on the solar that can extract CO2 from the atmosphere. The Swiss have started to put this on. We used to have trees in forests that were self-regenerating factories in their own self that extracted CO2 from the atmosphere. So as we destroy the forest, we develop the capacity to do this by ourselves. Yeah. So is it going in the right direction? In my opinion, no. But from that point where we're at today, maybe that's the right direction. That I don't know. I think it was a lot easier, in my opinion, but I'm probably wrong on that. In my opinion, it's a lot easier not to destroy it in the first place than to try to replace it later. But obviously, most people or humans in aggregate disagree with me. And probably as a member of the human race, I have to be part of the decision that's been made. And I was there, I was not able to orient the decision in a different direction. So I have to go with what's been done. I'm not.
Okay, so in saying all of that, you say you have to, but you're actually not. So you don't have to. You have that choice. You have that choice.
To do what?
Well, for a start, you talked about agreements. What will we agree to? Now, at that moment, that clearly says there's a choice. And even the statements that you're making on this is exercising a choice. Now, to what degree you do that is the matter to you. But if I look at what's going on in Manu's neck of the world, we're talking about water. How long can we go without water? How long can our bodiness go without water?
Well, we're going to find out how long we can go with the threat of not having water to a large body of population.
Yes. 4 million people with no water. What's that going to, what will that create?
Chaos.
Well, there will be the army.
I don't think it'll be chaos, Manu. I think it'll be quite orderly.
You're gonna be what?
I say you don't need to go to the point where there's no water. Just the threat of not enough water, already there's no more bottles to be had.
And the threat of no water creates fake news, Manu. So when you see a 12-inch borehole shooting water onto parched ground, that's nothing short of stupid. But all of a sudden, you've got people think, oh, it's being handled. But there's one thing for certain: the soil will take its bit first. The air will take its bit, and what will be left over is what will be left over. And that might be distributed fairly amongst all the 4 million people if you're lucky.
There's already a good hope. Based on past experience, fairly is rather an elusive process.
Of course. They'll just simply go to Lesotho and say, cut the dam, baby. You understand my point, Manu?
You think that we're going to invade Lesotho?
No, I'm saying sooner or later, if you go to the bottom line, it will be, hang on, you're damming that water. Maybe if you didn't dam that water, it would come to us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And now all of a sudden it might be the fastest way. But again, when you take it from the groundwater, just because you can't see it, how does it affect it? The groundwater in Australia was affected for over 100 years. It lost 3 or 4 meters of its groundwater.
It will take a millennia to replenish.
It'll take a long time to replenish. Exactly. I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But I do
India
know.
has the same problem.
What's that?
India has groundwater that's down tens of meters. China, I've seen the places that do this. In their side of the Himalayas, they are building tunnels through mountains to divert rivers. The critical paths, we talk about the 5 rivers, the Ganges and the Brahmaputra and all those rivers from the Himalaya that irrigate all this Southeast Asia, all the way to China and all that. China is building dams and diverting water. They're building 5,000 kilometers tunnels, like maybe 15 meters in diameter, to bring waters all the way to Beijing. And that's water that's not going to go to India. They will fight over that. There will be wars for water.
Mm.
And that's not going to improve the situation, because when we do war, we destroy we destroy more resources and we destroy more of the regenerative capacity.
So the clock that they say is moving, you know, the doomsday clock, it's moved its hand by a few seconds to get into extinction. And it's not nuclear threat anymore. It's the environmental threats that they moved it. And I don't know how far they moved it, but they moved it closer to midnight. So, I don't know, Manu, you look a bit worried there, mate.
Well,
Well,
You can come take a shower here anytime. My water heater just broke, so we got cold water, but we got water.
well, we're going to charter a 747 to come and get water from you guys.
Water.
Why you don't need to take it back, Manu. Just bring your family here and they can shower in my house too.
exactly.
We got plenty of water.
Exactly.
Don't charter the 747. You can't save the 4 million. That's the point Fritz made. Sooner or later, you got to make a decision about who gets it. And who doesn't.
You're going to be precise. You're going to say, we've got plenty of water this year.
Exactly. Playing right now, you see, but in 3 months, probably that won't be possible.
But I have a choice of 3 continents, or 4 at least. Maybe US, all the water is polluted. But there's Colombia, there is China, I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, see, now, Manu, you're smiling. You're not so worried about it.
Well, if there's gloom all over, what do you do?
Well, I don't know it. But I think that from my experience of it, when it happened, we had the 100-year drought here, and we got to the same level that you are there. all of a sudden we got a flood.
It's possible.
Mhm.
And
Ours
then,
is 102. They say is the harshest since 1921. So we're almost there.
yeah, and so maybe it's just a cycle, Manu. Maybe it's got nothing to do with us and we're arrogant to believe that it is.
Look, I met a lady in the queue, you know, like where we had to watch her last week, and she was telling me, gunshot, she's from Cape Town originally. So she was telling me how, you know, the direction of winds. You know, look at the mountain towards Palm there, the direction of wind, we're gonna have a lot of rain by the end of this year. That's what she was saying. And she hadn't listened to you. So
Well, you know what I noticed in all the lines, Manu?
no,
There was no apartheid.
there's none.
It doesn't matter whether what your color of skin is. You still wait to fill your bottle.
Mm.
Exactly.
Right now, I wonder what will happen. I wonder what's going to happen. I suspect I would not want to be of white skin when 60 or 70% of the line is dark and they have to decide which ones go.
I don't think that will happen though. I really think that this for Cape Town in particular, you know, I feel that, you know, through it, there's going to be something else for this city. I really believe so.
Mhm.
Like what?
It's gonna teach people what it means to be a being. I think so.
You mean the military is going to do that?
Well, I mean, not just from experience, just from experience. You know, like we bicker about everything and we find ways, always, to bring the debate to race. But since this thing started, there's never been. Even the mayor of Cape Town, who's been kind of, there was a motion of no confidence that passed, and she's been stripped of her powers to deal with water issues. There are few people that say, you know, she's been used. You know, Cape Town is like the whitest city in South Africa. So that she's been used for, you know, until she's no more needed, and then she's been thrown away. But that's just very few people. The overwhelming majority of people see the problem as this. And if they are condemning anybody, it's his government and its inability to have either, you know, kind of warnings and to have deployed anything that is really sensitive. You know, like drilling the aquifer in order to top, you know, kind of the water recirculation system would have been a solution. I mean, if wells were drilled 2 or 3 years ago and they continue to drill, I think that the acuity of this problem would have been attenuated.
Well,
But here we are.
Manu, I personally, I don't think distributing water over a large area is smart, period. If you've got declining water and the soil's going to take it and it's going to evaporate, it's going to go somewhere. So to me,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But
I'm saying,
go ahead.
You put water, you know, you drill well, and then you pump in the reticulation, in the pipes for homes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you don't expose it.
Yeah, and then people pay for it for use. You put in, like now, right? The overwhelming majority of the population of Cape Town are really trying to do the best. Business hasn't done their own, they haven't come to the party. It's now that they are being forced to. But I can assure you that in my home, I mean, we're consuming less than 50 liters a day per person. You shower 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. You buy efficient showers.
Man, why do you need a shower? Why don't you have a damp cloth and wipe your body? Why do you need 50 liters?
No, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's. But I'm just saying. There were a lot of things that could have been done, which haven't been done.
Okay,
And
so Manu, let me give you, I've already been through this scenario where the dam's dried up. Brisbane's already been through it. And you know what the net present position of Brisbane is today, having had the dam dry? All of that. If you study it, you know what its net present position is?
Nope.
Okay, our dams are full. We've now got policies on how to let the water, how to manage the water in the dams and so on. But the net present position is that people now pay 5 times the price or the expense that they paid for their water before the drought. And people today are no more water conservative or conservationists than what they were during the drought. It's like it's they forget, like it's Friday now. Wasn't that last week we had the drought? That's as far as we think. And in the mayor, as soon as the dams are full, it's yesterday's news. And when it becomes yesterday's news, then they use yesterday's news to go to money and what can be left over. So the governments are now charging way more for water than they ever have. At least 5 times. Because we don't ever want that to happen to us again. But it has nothing to do with management, the management of the civil governments. It's got more to do with the climate change or more to do with what's going on. We don't have control on that. And to think that we do at some moment now becomes this argument about money. The solution, you watch. The dam in Cape Town will fill again. Just for the reason.
I know that. I know, yes.
For the reason. But you know, if it killed a few million people, it would fit into Fred's plan.
Exactly.
It would mean that you don't have to make that decision. And then maybe Cape Town would be better off with only 2 million people in the water.
Yeah.
Right? But all of a sudden you got 4 million people and all of their activities, and what are they doing to that? So in my mind, it'll be forgotten, and we'll think that we can manage it without going to the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with whether you drill a hole for the dam, or whether you, it's got more to do is to understand exactly what's going on in the biosphere. It just seems to be crazy. I mean, in this country, they've had the hottest days that they've had on history in the last month. And the last 12 years have been the hottest 12 years in the records of keeping records in Australia. And this year is the hottest of them all. Now, I don't know if that's a cycle or if that's because of everything that's happening that's been created by our beingness.
I think we know.
What's that?
I think we know. And it's a lot safer to think we know that it's our fault and be wrong than to think we don't know and do nothing and be wrong. It's just my opinion.
So on that very exciting note, Manu, how do you feel and what do you take away?
Well, I hear you saying, cool down, Manu. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. What I take away is you know, this discussion about expense accounting and education, and in the end, there's nothing you can do. That's what I take away. Fred, what do you think? What do you take away?
Oh, I'm a little bit tired. It's been raining for the last 3 weeks here.
Oh, your rain's
But
in
that's a-
shining. Go get what belongs.
Send all that
you,
rain to
Manu.
Manu.
It belongs
Exactly.
to you, Manu. Go get it.
I'm coming, Fred.
I'll pick you up at the airport.
Anyway,
All right, Raphael, how do you feel? And what's your takeaway?
Great, very great call. I think the discussion that we open up here are absolutely exactly what concerns what's going on on the planet and especially on the biosphere. What I think is, again, this difference about, again, accountability, cosmic accounting, responsibility, expense and cost. I think the fact that we can understand all of these things at our level and we can see all the stupidness and how people make the foolish decisions and this, yes, to justify profit and the role of cooperation. I think the good thing about what we do here is that we inspect what's going on, we bring our own ideas, and we discuss. And is our cycle too short to be measured? Is this just what normally happens on the planet? For example, if you look at Peruvian history, lots of cities, yes, this is whole cities, we don't know, 400, 300,000 people just vanished. And even today, we don't know why. So it can happen to us as well. And again, is that part of the cycle? And there was no problem with the biosphere, 400 or 600 years ago. So again, cycle or not, I think we can ask that, we can make that point as well. And I also understand Fred's point. It's better to do something and be wrong than to then stand corrected. So again, I love these calls and how we open up possibilities. And again, the fact that we always have a choice. Manu can get out of Johannesburg or Cape Town and go and visit Fred and get plenty of water. I mean, at least you have that choice. Don't. But again, to Fred's point, that's a good thing. I mean, fewer million people, that'll be a good thing for the planet. Anyway, it's great to open up the discussion and to look at things from different angles and points of view. And that wouldn't be possible without the group of questioning everything. So I'm grateful for that. So Kelly, how do you feel and what do you take away?
Well, I'm feeling mischievous. What I take away is externality, internality, voodoo, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And the final piece, Raphael gave me the final piece. I'm quite excited now, Manu. I'm very excited because I've been to Cape Town, and I know that all of the area around Cape Town is not it's reasonably flat. So I think we've got a water solution that's going to come your way very quickly. The ice caps are going to melt. It's going to flood, and you guys, the whole of Cape Town is going to be 5 meters underwater. It might be salt water, but you're going to be underwater. And so maybe you'll be excited about today versus the ice caps. Don't worry about dragging them to you. They might get there anyway. If the heat keeps going on, if the blowtorch goes on, there might be a tsunami come your way that actually gives you 3 to 5 meters of water, and you might be under it instead of worrying about where it is. It might find you.
Yeah.
Is that a fresh solution?
How about 75 meters?
Yeah.
You can still go on top of Table Mountain, more than 75 meters.
Yeah, so if I were you, I'd move my family to the top of Table Mountain and I'd stick
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
How do I do this? See you later, Manu.